Hello everyone, my name is Muir and we've got something new for you today. However, before we get into the video, I'd like to take a moment to tell you that nearly 70% of people who watch our videos are not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, you could do me a huge favor by liking the video, commenting below, subscribing to the channel, and ringing that bell. It really helps with the channel and lets me know that you're liking what I'm making. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the video. Hello everyone, my name is Muir and this is Starsector version 0.95.1a RC5 or 6. And this is if you want to go with that Hyperion build, but you want to use officers instead. So our skill set has changed around a little bit, and with the idea being that we want to be like the super fighter pilot who's going to fly around and just annihilate things in our Hyperion. Well, we still want this, but our skills have changed around a little bit because we don't really care about our colony all that much. We instead just want our ship to be able to survive for a really long time. We want to be able to vent our flux, dissipate our flux very quickly. And we want our ships to get repaired for free and relatively quickly, as well as keeping our civilian ships rather fast. So what we're going to need here is we need one of each of these. This ability lets us get bulk transport, lets us increase it automatically increases the speed of the civilian ships by 2. I think these are also included in that. Yeah, it gets them up to 10, but doesn't really matter because they increase their own speed by 1 anyway. And we need 4 of them, so it doesn't really matter. So we just need a Prometheus, an Atlas, and a Starliner. The Starliner is just for extra people. So that's our reach with this sort of build. So all this really means is that you would gas up in Samara over here near and Salamanca, and then you could get out here no problem. So you can do it no problem with this kind of fleet right from the start of the game, assuming you could get 5, 6, 7. Assuming you can get 23 Hyperions. You could do it, I guess. You could get really lucky. But this is a skill loadout, so this one is just extra speed. You can swap this out for, say, this, but the top speed boost all the time can be useful. Though you do get that from safety overrides already. The extra top speed is really useful as well. The operating time here for peak operating time is really useful, but again, it is reduced as well with safety overrides. The extra combat readiness does make it to where your ship will last just a little bit longer while it is degrading. The nice part about this one is that when below 25% hull repair, 0.5% hull per second for a maximum of the higher of 2,000 points or 50% maximum hull. So that one's really powerful with the Hyperion because honestly, if you don't want things to get near you, you can pretty much stay away from them all the time. We have target analysis. This is just extra damage. It helps you take out enemy engines as well. This one, I'm going to use ballistic weapons. Why is that there? So we'll get rid of that and we'll instead put that on, say, we'll instead put that here. Oh. There. And, okay, so we have the shield modulation and target analysis for extra damage to ships. So that makes our heavy blasters just do that much more damage. Because they already do a lot of damage. Now we're going to do more. Then we have system expertise. This increases our ship's teleport range by a fair amount. I'll demonstrate that in a bit. We have tactical drills that just increases our weapon damage by 4%. It can add up over an entire fight. And then we have this one, all frigates and destroyers with officers, including the flagship, to an extra 20% damage to ships larger than a frigate. I think this stacks with this, which is nice. And it stacks with this. And it stacks with this. So basically, you're just stacking bonus damage modifiers to just annihilate things. So we have this, so we can transverse jump out, absolutely vital. And plus, you need at least 1 point here to select these. This one decreases weapon recoil, and anything that if you can get the elite on this, that reduces enemy range, I believe. So that can make it a little easier to survive. This one just increases your damage with energy weapons when you're close to the enemy. You're probably going to be closer than that because safety overrides reduces weapon range to roughly 450. This is so you can transport more stuff and have your civilian ships go faster. This one embraces the reality that you are going to lose Hyperions because they're frigates. They are going to get annihilated by things from time to time. So this lets you recover those. When you recover these, they will not only repair faster, but it'll also be cheaper to repair them, and they will be recovered with 30 to 40% integrity already. So you won't have to worry about that. This lets you vent flux faster, more quickly, and this makes it to where you take less armor damage depending on how much flux you have at the moment. Alright, and then this one just makes it cheaper to deploy these ships. So if we go over here, this one has us on it, and as we can see, that one costs 11 points, and everything else costs 11 as well because they're all derelict. So let's just look at this. So this one is, let's just look at this and say quarters of a unit. So it's 2, 6, and then this one would be 10. How far can we teleport with that skill? Just push our cursor up here as far as possible and teleport. So we started here, so 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we basically move 1, 2, and a quarter. It's pretty good. 1, 2, and a quarter. What about another ship that doesn't have an officer on it? So we know nothing weird is coming into play. Well, them, exact same circumstances, exact same pattern. Let's teleport. And they went basically 4, 5, 6. So it increased it by half. It added another 3 quarters to it. So instead of it being 6 quarters, it's now 9 quarters. So it did increase it by 50% range. Should this ever come into play when your ship is really fast? Probably not. And also when your ship has really good... your ship is really effective. I don't really have a timer on me, but we can just test it, I guess. Let's try 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15. So that we got to the end of 14 or so seconds. Maybe. What about you? Well, let's find out. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi. So if we go with one of them being, say, around 10 seconds, the other one being around 13 or so seconds, because I don't know when the timer begins after the teleport happens. We can say that having this ability shaves off 3 seconds, roughly. I'm pretty sure you can take it and find out the exact number, but it's a little bit of a difference, but it shouldn't be a life and death difference for you. So that especially when you have like a big shield that goes all the way around the ship, and if you want, you can even make it a complete shield, where the ship is completely encased. If you wanted to. That would be expanded shields, I think. Yeah, extended shields. So that would completely encompass the ship. If you're worried about fighters or something, or salamanders. But, yeah, this is basically the build you want to go with if you want to fly the ship and you want your officers to actually partake in the battle. Now, what do I recommend that you outfit your officers with? This one, obviously. Then this. This one is probably going to be really useful. So we're at 1, 2, 3. This one for sure, 4, and then probably 5. and probably 6 down here, so they can fire for longer. If you need to get rid of one of them, probably shield modulation, but the field modulation. Probably get rid of that if you're going to stop at 5, because you won't have level 6 officers here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you really want to use officers. So it costs 11 points to field an officer. So let's just look at let's just think about it. So we have for 10 officers with this and for 10 Hyperions with no officers, we can use this to get them down to 8. I think it was. So that means for 160 points we can field, let's just go with 120 because it's a nice number. So that means 10 of them cost 80, 15 of them cost 120. If we go with officers, then they cost 11 to field, and when we're using this and that and all that jazz. So they cost 11 then. Each one of them is technically more effective as long as they have the officer. However, we can field 10 of them. Then we're at 110, so maybe we can field 11 of them. So 15 of them versus 11. It really just boils down to, do you think the officers add enough of an edge to make it worth it? Or would you rather just flood the field with it? Or would you rather just flood the battlefield with ships? Well, let's look at some considerations. This increases the damage. Let's say you're fighting capital. So this would increase the damage by 20%. This would increase it again because there's an officer by another 20%. So let's say 40%. This increases it by 4%. So say 44%. And this increases it by up to 30%. So we're looking at so assuming the pilot has that, the officer has that skill, we've gone from 44 to 74% bonus damage. So each ship is now able to do that. However, would you rather have 4 more ships? Well, more, assuming the battle gets larger. Or would you have... And also keep in mind, your other non-officered ships are not going to be able to do this. They're going to cost more, they're not going to be nearly as effective, because they don't have helmsmanship, damage control, and common endurance. So once those ships with your officers get destroyed or damaged and they need to retreat or something, all the replacement ships you send in are going to be markedly worse. They're gonna do 72% less damage than those ships with officers. So it's really a give and a take. If you go for this one, then you're definitely looking at wanting to just spam ships out, which you can do with Hyperions, and they basically go out there and kill everything in the game. We have best the best if you want to go with building in more hull mods and making those officers' ships just absolute killing machines. You can do that too, because you can build in safety overrides. I guess safety overrides cannot be built in, but if there's something else that you wanted to use, I don't know, if there's something else that you wanted to use, you could definitely do that. There's nothing that would really be stopping you. But yeah, whatever it is you want to do. If you wanted them, I mean, they can't be a little stealthier. That's not really possible with them. But if you wanted to, say, do a nav relay so they go even faster, maybe you could do that. If you want to do hardened shields, or extended shields, or stabilized shields, because it costs 300 to keep these up. You could go with stabilized shields. Nah, that's really cheap. You would just pay for that. But if you wanted to do something, you can definitely do that. There's not a whole lot that you can add that really, really improves it, aside from... well, for one, you definitely want depending on if you're doing the salvage run, you definitely want to have the... Where is it? I'm drawing a blank right now. Where is it? Oh, reinforced bulkheads. You definitely want that in there, and you can make that. You can build that in. The nav relay could be useful just to increase your speed. Hardened shields could be useful to make it where you take less damage, where you take less flux damage. You could also stack these on there to. Honestly, I would just build in the hardened subsystems at that point, so that the ship lasts even longer. There's all kinds of things you could do. The real question is going to be which one seems to stand out to you the most. If I had to build things in, how many can we build in? Let's build in hardened subsystems. We can build in 2, right? So what I would recommend would be the hardened subsystems and the reinforced bulkheads. Those would be the 2 that I would recommend. So we can just do that. It would cost you 2 points. Yeah, it would cost you 2 points per Hyperion, and you just hope that you don't lose any of them. But we would do that, and then honestly, I would most likely just go with hardened shields, so that the shields just take less damage when they're being held up, when enemies are shooting them. If you're using officers, neural interface could be useful. But yeah, we'll see. You could also go with stabilized shields, so you use less flux, just keeping the shields up. But it's entirely up to you guys. Whatever it is that you want to do, you could go with it. If you weren't going with those 3 capital, well, the 2 capitals and 1 cruiser class civilian ships, then I would recommend insulated like engine assembly, or if you replace those capitals, they support ships with instead the phase variants, which are far harder to detect. You probably still won't get a whole lot of benefit from building all of these in. The solar shielding, again, not a whole lot of benefit from building those in. I wouldn't recommend shield shunt, because the ship really lives and dies on shields, because it is a high-tech ship. High-tech ships tend to work best with high shields, and they tend to have really low armor. So if you want to, yeah, I wouldn't even recommend this one. So one thing you could do if you really wanted to would be extended shields. So if you wanted to, you could do this, and then instead of hardened shields, you could do extended shields. Now the ship has the luxury of being completely encased by a shield, so you don't have to worry about a lot of that. But again, when you teleport, the shield goes down temporarily, so it's not completely free. Are going to have to deal with the reality that you're going to be right in the enemy's face when you teleport, in almost every case. So it's good. I think this is one of the better abilities to initiate the enemy on, and immediately start attacking them when you know you're not going to make them explode. So remember, your shields are not up when you go in. You can teleport and then bring your shields up. That will work. But again, I'm not sure when exactly the shields are actually working. So if you were to, say, teleport fire and, like... Oh, I wonder if you could shoot yourself by accident. That is a good question. I don't know if you can. Yeah, it probably doesn't allow you to, but that would be really funny if you could accidentally shoot yourself. No, I'm intentionally trying to, in this convoluted situation, to shoot myself by accident. But anyway, you can teleport, and then as soon as you're out, shoot. I only recommend doing that when it's not going to kill the enemy ship, because you don't want to eat their explosion. You're a frigate, it will destroy you. If you get your shields up, you're probably fine, but again, you might not have it up in time before they explode. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, feel free if when you find out you're going to go with a Hyperion build, which again, this can kill pretty much almost anything in the fleet, anything in the game. I don't know if it can kill the ultra redacted, but this can do almost everything. Yeah, I would highly recommend you build these in first on all of them, and then you build the hardened subsystems in afterwards on all of them. Then you go with extended shields, and then vents. You can mix this up a little bit if you want to go with... Oh, we're in space. If you want to, you can mix this up a little bit by doing this instead. You still get safety overrides. What? Oh, right. It's a drastically different ship. So we still get a lot of things there. We're gonna... Oh yeah, hardened subsystems is already there. We need one more point. We'll just take it out of vents, I guess. And we will instead add extended shields so we can get that full bubble. So you can do that. There's no real problem with that. You can also mix these. You can have one. You can alternate heavy blaster and then ion pulsar if you want. That will work. It'll add some disabling of enemies and then some just brute forcing them down. So it's all what you want to do, guys. But go and let me know how it works out for you in the field, I suppose. Keep in mind that Hyperions are not particularly easy to come by until you find a blueprint. So they are very precious in a way. So just keep that in mind. But guys, this is the build. This is the skill build, I suppose. Highly recommend you use this. And if you're testing, I cannot recommend enough. Command console, you'll need easy lib to do it. You can find those on the forums. And when you're testing, if you just want to mess around with skills, you can always just go with add story points. Add story point 100, or add story points 100, and just give yourself more story points. So, you know, I don't know what the max is, and I don't necessarily want to find out on on recording what the max is. But yeah, there you go, guys. That's the build. These are the ships. And just go out there and have fun with it. Alright guys, my name has been Muir. This has been Starsector version 0.95.1a, RC5, I think it is, maybe RC6. And I'll catch you guys next time. Go ahead, leave me a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and just share the video with whoever you think would like it. Bye.